Entire village evacuated for a controversial purpose is still dividing people. Southern France's Salagao Valley was once home to a tiny, unassuming town named Celles. The small area of land was well known for its dry, arid climate and dark red soil that stained skin and clothing, and the 63 inhabitants who made up the population were content with their simple lives. Everything changed, however, in 1959. The local government forced every resident out of their homes, abandoning their livelihoods with nowhere to go. The reason was absurd, and years later the wounds still haven't healed. As much as it might look like a quaint waterside village is something out of a movie, it's actually a very real town called Celles, located in southern France's Salagao Valley, and it's the center of a lot of controversy. Because these days, the town looks far different than it used to back in the beginning of the 1900s. If you venture out of the Salagao Valley today, you'll find the area strewn with abandoned buildings. It's a sad sight, unfortunately. What once were the homes of residents are now crumbling structures where families were raised. Some of the windows are still intact, but ruins now overtake Celles. Celles was never a bustling city by any means, but at one point in time during the 1950s, it had about 65 residents who ensured the village ran smoothly every day. To this day, the reservoir around Celles is tranquil and scenic, but you'd never know the water was actually the reason the town was so quickly abandoned. The events that unfolded in the late 1950s were heartbreaking. Prior to the residents fleeing Celles, nearly all of them were either farmers or winemakers, living off the land and honing agricultural methods. However, even though everyone lived simply, Celles faced a crisis. They were experiencing what was known as a viticulture crisis. Basically, too many people were making wine. The market was completely saturated with the product, and prices were at an all-time low. So, in order to bring a bigger diversity of agriculture to the area, the local government figured building a reservoir would be an ideal option, but they had to completely flood out the town of Celles to do so. Between the years of 1959 and 1968, the people of Celles were instructed to sell their homes. Those who didn't abide by the law were forced out by any means necessary. After an 11-year struggle, the town was deserted. What remained after the dictatorial government action was exactly what you'd expect. The skeletons of homes lay rotting, and the peaceful energy that once filled the streets was nowhere to be found. Now that the residents were gone, the reservoir and dam were quickly completed. The water level slowly rose, but before it hit the expected level of 100 meters, it stopped 11 meters short. The water never even reached Celles. The town was totally deserted for absolutely no reason at all. People left their lives and abandoned everything they knew for an end result that never even happened. People were devastated by the outcome. That wasn't even the worst of what happened. After it was discovered that there was an entire town up for grabs, squatters came in and began living in the skeletal remains of the buildings. Looters took whatever goods were left. So what was to come of this sad town that once housed hard-working Celles residents? Many would think all abandoned hope, when in fact some people did try to make a difference. Amazingly, the families actually agreed to sign long-term leases at Celles in an attempt to revitalize the village. Of course, it'll take a lot of hard work and dedication, but Celles' mayor is confident it can happen. Her name is Joëlle Goudal, and she's been fighting her entire life to help keep the idea of rebuilding Celles into what it once was alive and well. But it's been a struggle. We wanted a lively village, a village that's lively as a place where people work, where kids go to school, where people wake up in the morning and go to their jobs, Goudal said. One beacon of hope for Goudal is based on a special lease called a Bâlerie Solidaire. What the lease states is whoever plans on moving in has to agree to take part in rebuilding the structural integrity. To reinforce the lease, Celles is currently only welcoming people who can bring entire businesses in to kickstart some kind of economy. We chose people based on their project or their enterprise they'll bring, said the mayor. Goudal eventually wants Celles to become a functioning town again, but it's hard to say how many people are willing to join such a stressful undertaking. Those in charge knew from past events how hard it was to really get people for a cause like this.